How you doing? This is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh. You know, people can say anything on the internet, but when you read it in your daily paper by someone who's supposedly an expert, you kind of wonder, where do these people get their information and where do they get their so-called expertise? Well, here's the East County Times, formerly called the Contra Costa Times, and the Joan Morris article of the day. Now, this woman went from being a garden columnist and talking about recipes to being a pet columnist, an animal columnist, when Gary Bogue, the great former animal columnist, retired. I have his book at home, by the way. So this is Joan Morris. And a letter writer writes, I've been watching two new mourning doves baby for over a week now. The mom and dad built their nest in the grapes that cover our railing on our deck. While they were sheltered, they were kind of low. And I'm not going to quote the whole thing. I was saddened our two Jack Russell terriers found the nest and destroyed it along with the babies. One adult mourning dove was fluttering around and looking frantic, in my opinion. I thought the adults would given up, but one was back in the morning, pacing back and forth on the deck. I'm so sad this happens. Can you tell me more about this behavior? Do doves mourn as their name suggests? Will they get over it before I do? And she replies, they likely will get over it much more quickly than you will. In fact, the link their grief is part of why some scientists believe birds and other non-human animals do not experience true grief. A number of birds seem to understand when their mates' offspring of the flock are killed. Members of the corvid family, crows, ravens, magpies, appear to stage funerals for their fallen friends, gathering on the body, making a ruckus as if in mourning and eulogizing the deceased. Birds that mate for life are noticeably beset and appear to mourn. And I'm not going to go more than this, but this woman's an idiot. I'm going to step over here for a minute, and I'm going to show you the area, and it's behind me, in the creek. And this is the Martinez Creek. Down there, you can make them out of the way. Well, down there for a week, I saw, and everybody in the area saw, a poor goose honking for a solid week. Why was it honking? Because its mate had been killed by raccoons. The poor goose honked day and night, 24 hours a day. I was down here at night, I was down there during the day. It nuzzled its mate. The female was dead. It honked mournfully when the Bank of America used to be open right across from me. And the poor goose wasn't removed till I called the city and said, will someone please go down the creek and remove the body of this goose so the other goose doesn't sit her and honk mournfully. Cats mourn the loss of their litter mates and their companions. Dogs do. Other animals do. But for this woman to cite unknown scientists who claim that animals don't mourn like humans do is ridiculous. I would remind people that in 1906 or 9, or the early part of the 20th century, scientists claimed that if you went more than 60 miles an hour in a car, you and the car would burn up from the friction in the atmosphere. Well, Barney Oldfield, the great Indianapolis racer, proved them wrong. He was the first man to go 60 miles an hour, if memory serves correct. And we're constantly being told by scientists, man-made global warming, now the ozone layer is healing, and they claim that the damage to the ozone was not caused by Freon, but via volcanic eruption. Just like we're told that Fukushima is safe, and yet the city is still in a red zone years after the nuclear reactor went off. This woman should be ashamed of herself. And when I wrote her an email, she replied, I'm sorry you were disappointed in my commentary. I didn't mean animals don't feel grief. They just don't feel grief like we do. Well, she's absolutely wrong. And then when I sent her back, maybe you should do some studying before you make a blanket statement like this. She said, oh yeah, or something like that. So, I don't know who hired this woman to be the animal columnist, but they need to rethink it. Animals mourn, animals grieve. I've had animals look around for their babies. I've had animals look around for their pets. I've had 22 cats. And I know from my readings of Brad Steiger and other writers that animals grieve for missing and lost pets. They don't grieve for a week or a day or an hour. Sometimes it takes them months or years to get over it, and sometimes they never get over it. So I don't know what kind of animals this woman has. Maybe the only animal she has is plastic celery and tomatoes on her kitchen counter in a bowl. But you shouldn't rely on someone like this who doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. Okay, I got one other thing to say. The people on you-know-where are asking Open Lines Jerry, and hello Jerry, when am I going to do a video? And it amuses me that the haters are asking when I'm going to do videos. And Jerry said to me, he's told them it's up to me when I do videos. Now, I have things to do. I have physical ailments that cause me to be in bed, and I don't have bed sores, like Digital Pig Snuggler said. And, this other thing they said recently, that I'm spending $80 a month on my box rental at the post office, when I mentioned that it's probably the safest post office in America because it's got a sheriff's substation in it. Well, they're morons. I get mail at my post office for two reasons. One, my mother was alive. She used to send me checks or money or stamps, and my mailbox got broken into. So I went over to the post office. I signed up for one. It cost me $50. Back then it was $45. It's now $50. Every 6 months. Not per month. They don't know what they're talking about, and as what frequently happens, they're wrong. Because they're online haters who make stuff up to draw attention to themselves. Now, I shouldn't pay attention to these people, but every once in a while, I have to state the truth. All right, this is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh. Don't read Joan Morris, and don't listen to people who think they're experts or quote experts that they don't quote. Some scientist. That's like Swedish scientists who said a giant nautilus was heading from Mars, or the missing TBF Avengers that disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle were flying in from the moon. Of course, that was in the Weekly World News, but you get the idea. All right, have a great evening. I'll be back in a minute with another video. I'll upload these when I get home, and try to stay safe out there. Bye-bye.